okay, I have to make sure I catch this ball, or I'm not going to get another ball, or I'm not going to get another opportunity. So it's just about seizing your opportunity. But like once you like alleviate that stress, it's like regular, you're just playing sports. But I still feel that like to this day, like. Okay.
Excellence is about standing, and excellence is a requirement for your dream to come true.
My first memory with football would probably be with just knowing my dad was a player and just watching him play.
Did you start playing right away when you were like 2-3 years old, following your dad, or did you wait before you knew?
No,
you
I
liked
waited. I was very late to football. I grew up playing soccer, and I love soccer, and then I love basketball. And basketball, I thought I was going to go all the way. And then high school, I started playing football, and I was just good at it, and I just kept at it.
So I saw you were a dual athlete in a sense in high school. So you were like going high level, and you maybe had the potential to go in both sports. At what point did you choose that you would go one way and not the other?
I would say towards the end of my high school career. I remember I broke my foot my grade 12 year, and then I came back and I was still good at basketball, but I didn't get better. And then football, I was just as good, if not better. And then I just took it as a sign. And I'm also not tall, so I felt like I had a longer career in football.
Nice. And did your dad also push you in the direction of football, or not really? Was he pushy?
Surprisingly, he wasn't really pushing me for football. Like even when I was younger, he was just like, when you get to high school, you can try it. He's like, just do it. The more you can do, the better. And so I was doing it, and I definitely feel like I made the right choice.
What do you think, or do you recall like a moment in your childhood or young adulthood when you realized that you could make it not just as like a high school or university player, but like as a pro? Like a specific game, specific anything?
I feel like it took me some time to really consider football as a career option. Like I would say I was still in denial towards the end of my high school career.
Why is that?
Because I just felt like I was going to be playing basketball. So it wasn't until, let's say, my first or second year of university, I'm just like, oh, I could really do this. And I was like having success then. So
yeah, what was success at that point? Was it because it's a team sport? Was it like personal success, or did you have like a
personal
great team?
Success? Yeah, for sure. I was all Canadian my second year there at St. FX, so it was a good time.
And when would you say between that moment and the moment you became pro, did you second guess your choice to go basketball because you said that you were as good as in one and the other?
I feel like after my last game of basketball, like I was good not playing it anymore. Like it still hurt that I wasn't playing because I played it for so long, but I just knew for the future, like it's just close one chapter, new chapter opens, right?
Yeah. And so when did your pro career start? How did it start? You said you were great at both sports and you choose one, then you keep playing. But actually, how do you consider you became pro? Is it when you signed your first paid deal or paid contract?
So I became, like when I got drafted after my senior year in 2019. So after then, I got drafted to Montreal, and I've been here ever since.
Nice. How you said you said that you like Montreal, but sometimes when it's a week off, you still go back to.
I mean, you get homesick, right? And like, if all my family's in Toronto and it's only 4.5, 5 hours away, you might as well go back for a couple of days and just relax, unwind.
Going back on your childhood, and you said 2 sports, high level. Maybe like 3-4 training each a week. Were you able to still focus, or did you have your family pushing you towards like education and still going to school? How do you approach that?
It was definitely tough, but they didn't really overlap too much. I would have practice after school, but like at my school, we would have like study hall. So we were doing all our homework there, and we didn't really have a choice not to.
Yeah. So when did you stop completely? I mean, not completely, but when did you stop education and focus only on sports? What time? What period?
When I got drafted.
Okay. So had you finished your like curriculum or whatever you wanted to do?
I still have like 3 classes I have to do. I completed 1 last year, so I'm just gonna.
So
chip,
you do like
chip at away slowly.
okay. So do you do like part time, like taking one
Yeah.
course per semester per season or something?
Exactly.
Remote.
Yeah.
What's back in Ontario?
No, so the last one I did was a course through Athabasca, but I'm going to probably, like this off season, apply to St. FX again to try and complete it, or see if there's like a school or if there's like a sister program where I can not go all the way out there and I can just see what courses translate.
Okay, I'm moving forward quick here, but I'll go back on like more of the sports stuff. But it's usually a question I ask at the very end. When I ask it is, once your career is over, hopefully in like 10 or 15 years, you know what life will be about once football is not your main occupation anymore? And is that something that you sometimes come?
It's definitely something that I've been thinking about, especially in like recent months and years. But I don't know. I feel like I always have something on the go, and just have to be open-minded. Like, I can't give you the answer of exactly what I'm going to do, but I know for sure I want to be around sports. I have an artistic background, so I still make designs and logos for people and like T-shirts, and I sell hats, and I can cut hair if I really wanted to. I used to cut hair, and there's just options. Oh, sorry.
No worries. So going back to football, one of the few things, and actually many things that came out of the discussion I had with Brian Urgi, also Richie Sindani from the Argos, is that football is a very lonely sport in a sense, even though it's a team sport, because you don't have that many chances to prove yourself when you play, whether it's at the very beginning or whether it's now when you're in the CFL. You might have 5-6 occasions in one game to get a play that involves you pretty much, and it feels like it's a lot of pressure in a sense that you only have so little when you know so many and you have to work so hard. Is that something that has ever been mentally draining for you, that pressure, that being lonely in a team sport in a sense?
It definitely comes and goes. In my earlier years, I felt that pressure a lot more, where you're trying to prove yourself and solidify yourself on the team where you can get more plays. So it's like, okay, I have to make sure I catch this ball, or I'm not going to get another ball, or I'm not going to get another opportunity. So it's just about seizing your opportunity. But like once you like alleviate that stress, it's like regular, you're just playing sports. But I still feel that like to this day, like, okay, I have this goal in my mind. If I don't get this here, then I'm not pushing towards my goal, or I'm not getting close to it.
And what I said also before we started recording was I do a lot of similarities between business and sports, and I think there's so much about sports in general. Football is one of the sports that we see the most on the media, with basketball and hockey. We always, whatever I can read about you online, for example, is you scored a touchdown, you won the Grey Cup, blah blah blah, but you never see the 99% of the time when you're not on the screen, on the field. So it means training, it means all the hassle, it means injuries, it means everything. These are the stuff that I like to dig into.
And especially like as a receiver, I would say it's like the most dependent position, where you're not guaranteed to get the ball one, and for everything to work out in your favor, the O-line has to protect the quarterback enough time to even see you, and then if you're not a part of the play, then you're not going to get the ball anyways. So it's just like the chance that you're going to get the ball, and it's just like there's so many other factors that play a role into you getting the ball.
And is that something that you how did you work on it? Because you said it's something that even today you still not struggle with, but it's still kind of some sort of stress. But how do you work on it mentally, the mental aspect of sports in general? Do you work with like a sports psych and anyone like that?
No, I think just maturity and understanding how the game goes, and just even how the business goes. But it's just, why am I going to stress myself even more than I am already for the game? So it's just like you have to be relaxed when you do get an opportunity, just make the most of it. And then if you don't, then there's gonna be another opportunity. May not be as fast as you want, but just make the most of it when it comes.
Yeah. And you had also a few injuries. It's again not many opportunities in one game. It's not that many games in a season.
Exactly.
And then you can be injured and miss half, 3/4 of the season. You've been injured a few times.
Yeah.
How do you keep pushing? How does your body, and most importantly, how does your mind react to being injured and seeing all those potential opportunities just fly away.
So it was definitely tough last year because I felt like I waited so long for my opportunity where I started to get the ball a lot more like I felt like I should have been. And then, so I'm playing well, then I get hurt and I hurt my hand. And I'm like, okay, this is annoying. Well, I still have X amount of games when I come back and I'll just finish strong. And I come back and then I break something else. I'm like, okay, I've never had any injuries.
How many games in between the two
It was
injuries?
3 games.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, so I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I've never had any football related injuries like throughout my whole career, like my whole lifespan. And then I come back, break my collarbone, and then I'm out for the season. And then I'm just watching my team continue to do well, and then we end up winning the Grey Cup, and I'm on the sidelines watching, and it's tough mentally, but it's just like you just have to keep pushing, I guess.
Yeah. So now that you're back, you want to get one when you're on the field,
Exactly.
I guess, right?
That's what, like, obviously I've been up with the team for 5 years now, so as much as I wasn't on the field and I'm a competitor, I want to be, like, I don't want to count it, but it counts because I've been here for so long, and
You have your ring.
I also played in the beginning of the season. It's just I want to be the competitor in me. I want to be on the field hoisting it up too, like.
Yeah. And on the very more like personal level, how do you set yourself objectives, and how do you react when, let's say last year you had so and so objectives, maybe starting all game or playing X minutes per game, scoring, rushing, receiving yards and stuff. How do you set those goals personally, whether they be daily goals, weekly, yearly goals, and how do you react when things get in the way?
So the main thing is just being willing to adapt, because not everything's going to go as planned. And so for me, it was like I will set goals for the year, and then by each week you have like smaller goals that are building towards that bigger goal. So, and then if, let's say I don't hit the goal for the week, I'm like, okay, well, we're gonna have to pick it up next week, if in that case.
And those goals, are they like numbers oriented, like, oh, I'm gonna get that many catches or this or that, or is it more like,
it'll more so be, let's say, like how many yards I get, but I can't really control that too, because if
goes back to the
exactly.
initial question.
So if I'm not getting the ball thrown to me, or if the plays aren't being called for me, because the plays can be still called for me, but then let's say
the mic.
Oh, well, sorry. Let's say an O-line misses a block, and I could be wide open. The quarterback's looking at me, and then he can't get it to me because he's getting tackled. So it's just like very dependent, and it's just like, okay, well, you just have to bounce back and adjust to finding a way to get the goal completed.
And if we leave the actual games aside, so the games is what really counts. You have how many games in a season?
18.
So
18, let's say 21.
Yeah, 18 games, 21 games, whatever the number. But at the end of the day, if you remove those games, how do you set other objectives when you go to training, when you just go to the gym and all that? How that part is not the tangible part, because it's tangible to say, oh, you played that game, you had that many, you complete that many, you had that many touchdowns, you complete that many yards, blah, blah, blah. But then outside of those stuff, which is what's on the media, what's is actually easy to measure outside of that, how do you?
It's I feel like it differentiates from person to person. Like for me, like I like to hold myself to a standard in the sense that I'm good.
Yeah.
Where I just want to be better than I was yesterday or better than I was the week before. So I just want to keep building on the player and just overall person I was. I just want to just get better in all aspects of life.
Mm-hmm. So looking, so let's say today or the 18th of July, what will it mean in the facts to be better next week? How would you
right now?
Yeah. And next month.
So for me, it's a big thing with going into this bye week was rest and allowing my body to just actually recover, because in the football season you're rarely going to be 100% because of how physical the sport is. So when I'm training, this goes back to like the off season. When I'm training, or even when I go to the gym tomorrow or something, I'm training so that even when I'm at 75%, let's say, I'm better than most people, because realistically, no one's ever at 100% during the season, and let's say I'm even close to it, then nobody's even coming close to me. And that's about how I think.
Yeah. Well, this is a growth mindset.
Yeah.
I'm going to be better than anyone. I want to be better even if I'm not at
Exactly.
75%. So what will be in that case for you, let's say in a year from now and in 5 years from now, what would you look back and say, I succeeded? Personally and on a team level, of course.
I would say as a team, just winning a Grey Cup with me on the field, success, being an all-star, and getting 1,000 yards in the season. And like it's tough. Like I'll be on pace. Like last year, I was on pace for it, and then just get hurt.
Yeah.
And I'm just done for the year. So it's just
How is the season going so far for you?
so far it's so good.
What are the numbers?
Numbers, like they could be better in my opinion, but like you can control what you can control. And me, as long as I'm a competitor and I'm a winner, like I want to win. So if my team's winning, I'm not going to be complaining about my yards. I'm happy we're winning, you know?
Yeah. So it's again going back to the individual aspect versus the team aspect of sports, because it's a question you don't have to answer it, but if I were to ask you, would you rather get like an MVP of the season title or win the Grey Cup? You know, these are stuff, and it's kind of counterintuitive. You would say, oh, obviously this one. Actually, no, obviously the other one.
The way I do it, though, is my team goal is separate from like my individual goal. And like the team goal always takes precedent over everything else. So let's say it's a 1A and it's just locked in over there.
Mm-hmm.
The Grey Cup, win the championship, or just we be number one. We can be like Grey Cup or be number one going into playoffs, and then on my individual side it will be like all that stuff, MVP, All-Star. But like it's tough to say, like, because now depending on who you ask, they already won the Grey Cup on the team. So now it's like, okay, I want to be MVP now. Me, it's like a rock and a hard place where I won the Grey Cup, but I wasn't on the field in my head. So I'm just like, okay, either or is good to be right now.
Yeah, both.
Yeah.
Better. I think the CFL is probably the second largest or most watched league, I would assume, football. NFL being, of course, the first one. I think you went 2022 for like a workout or something with the Broncos, right? Has it been, or is it still a dream of yours going to the NFL, or is it like not necessarily a goal because whatever you do, you think you're the best version of yourself right now?
Yeah, so it's a bit of both. Like, obviously, it's my dream to play with, if they consider the best league, and I want to play with the best of the best if I consider myself the best. And at the same time, like, it's still a goal of mine. As long as that there's a window or a chance, of course I'm going to go for it.
And again, it goes back to the being given being given the chance, or being given the opportunity at the right time. If you were to meet the 10-year-old Kaion, let's say, what would you tell him if you could give him a piece of advice? And what do you think he would give him as an advice? Would he be proud?
What would I say to myself? I would say to enjoy being young, but also take advantage of being young. And there's a lot of time where I could have been getting better at whatever sport it was, and not to say I wasn't, but like there's so much time where you can just have fun. There's so much time for fun, and if you split it up a little bit and be a little bit more disciplined, then you'll set yourself apart from earlier as opposed to later.
Yeah, you obviously are in the top 0.1% in football, whatever the number is at the top. So you have to have discipline. You said that you want to be the best even when you're at 75%. So it means, like you said before, a good sleep, eating well, a healthy lifestyle, just listening to your body, recovering, and all that. When do you think you acquired that discipline? Was it taught by whatever coaches, your family, your parents, or is it kind of self-taught in a way?
I would say self-taught, but really my dad really instilled it into me. And even like growing up, I watched there's a Chad Ochocinco training video. He's training with like AB and a bunch of other NFL guys, and he said it and he was like, he said he's not feeling his best, but he's like, even when I'm at 70% or 80%, he's like, nobody's really going with him, and that really stuck with me. And then my dad said it too, and he didn't even see the video, so I was like, yeah, I just have to make sure I'm that much better than everyone else. To where I'm having an off day and it doesn't seem like it.
Does that still happen often, that you have half days and that you lose that discipline? You said there's so many opportunities to have fun and work less and enjoy life more.
Yeah.
Is that something that you still kind of struggle with? Or not struggle, but
I wouldn't say struggle. Sometimes like you want to listen. Like I started to realize too, like because when I was younger in the CFL or just about to go like in university, like you can overtrain your body too and over relax. So sometimes like more like now I've been keen on listening to my body and not like pushing it to its limit and then knowing its limit.
Have you ever been above your limits? Do you think the injuries that you suffered last year could have been linked to that or not at all?
No, I feel like any injuries I have, they're all like freak instances, like because I got tackled. I've been tackled so hard sometimes, and like last year I got a helmet to the hand. Like it was just like the perfect hit on my hand, and then I came back and I caught a slant, and it was a regular tackle. I land on my side and shatter my collarbone. But like I felt like I got hit both of those times like countless times. So
yeah, it's just the right angle, or the worst angle, the worst moment, the worst force, all of that. Have you always kept, have you always kept the fun of the sport? Lots of athletes that I've interviewed, especially I think in individual sports, they're sometimes pushed so hard. They push so hard, they are being pushed so badly that, especially when they're getting 16, 17 years old, they have some sort of a burnout. They don't have fun anymore doing whatever they used to love. Is that something that ever happened, whether it be due to pressure, due to tiredness and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, in my early years, I would say I wasn't having fun just because I felt like I put too much pressure on myself and I wasn't really enjoying being a pro athlete, and too much pressure just with like I want to make plays, and like obviously when you're making plays and you're winning, you're having the most fun. But if I'm not making plays and then we're not winning and I'm not really involved, it's just like what am I doing? Like what am I really doing? But so then it goes back to like where you're like how much do you really love the game and how much do you really want to be doing this? And it's not for everybody, but like you get those realizations, those thoughts, as long as you flush them and get back to that mentality of, okay, this is what you're doing. And I always had the philosophy of as soon as I'm done having fun with it, I'll be done with it. Yeah.
And as your dad helped you in that regards, because he went through it, how many years did you do as a pro?
How many years did he play? I want to say like 3 or 4.
Okay, so because I think Brian told me when I interviewed him that the average CFL player contract or like career is like 3 years ish.
Yeah.
So you're at 5 now,
yeah.
Right? So he went 4, so above I would say the average. So did you learn stuff from him? Not on the sport side purely, the technicalities, but more on the like mental aspect of sport, how to survive in a sense, and getting contracts renewed and stuff like that.
Yeah, he just taught me really just to always want to be better. Always like his big thing. Well, let's say in the summertime, like when I was in elementary school or high school, he'd be like, "What did you do today to get better?" And then sometimes like I wouldn't be able to say anything because I just sat at home playing video games. So I'm like, nothing. He's like, "Is that going to help you in whatever goals you have?" And it wasn't even like pertaining to sport. So it just made me think of like all the wasted time I had, where I really came to that realization when I broke my foot in like grade 12. I'm like, I could be using all this time to be training for basketball, blah, blah, blah. And then I thought, I'm like, but if you weren't hurt, would you be doing that consistently? And then that's when I really, like my mindset kind of switched.
Do you still think this way now? Like thinking, today did I do anything to get better? Yeah?
Yeah.
Constantly? So when you...
I'll say for sure. And if it's not daily, it's by the week. Or it's like, what did I do this week?
Yeah.
where I got better, or I separated myself from the competition and myself prior. And then if I didn't, when I write it down and it doesn't line up, it's okay, what am I going to do this week that's going to change that?
Yeah. Do you believe in like manifesting stuff? I think, and again, I do parallels because I've interviewed a few football players, and Richie Sindani from the Argos, he told me like I manifest things that I'm in my elevator. I have 2 plays in mind, just thinking them twice each, so I know them, and I just get better at it all the time. And the more I think about them, the more it's possible that they happen. Is that something that you also try to?
Yeah, I definitely do be manifesting. I do a lot of praying too, just to God, and whatever He has planned for me will happen. And so as much as I can think about it, when it comes, I just know I'm going to be ready.
Yeah. One thing, because I want to be surprising, not just mental stuff. If I were to say that right now I'm writing a book about your story, and the only thing I'm missing is the title, what would you give for the title of your story, personal story?
Say less, do more.
Why?
That's just always been like my motto. Like, I'm not the most outspoken person. I've always been a man of action. So like, I won't be talking smack during the game really, and then I'll just go make some crazy plays. And then, but recently I started to talk more.
No trash talking, just starting.
Just trash talking, and just like overall, like I'm just not the most vocal person. Like even like as a leader on a team, I'm a leader on the team, but lead by example more so.
Yeah. Are you considered a veteran now that you have 5 years?
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 28.
28, veteran.
Yeah.
Wow, crazy.
I know, right?
Are you active on social media?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where should people that listen to the podcast follow you?
Instagram.
Yeah.
Instagram and Twitter. Twitter I don't really check, but Instagram probably.
Okay. Most importantly, they should come to the games.
Exactly.
In the McGill Stadium. How many games left in here in Montreal this season?
Here in Montreal?
Well, ish. Don't check maybe 4 or 5 or something.
No, 6,
Okay.
12. There's 12 more games. I'm not sure how many are home.
So let's say half, so maybe 6 or something.
Yeah,
Cool.
6.
If you had one person that you would love to hear, one athlete that you would like to hear on the podcast, whether or not you know that person, who would that person be?
LeBron.
Okay, so that's a good.
I would
to
say Kobe, obviously, but rest in peace. But LeBron.
All right, so that's a good one. Never came up, so I'll try one maybe in 6 or 10 years from now. Last question that I always ask, actually, since I moved into that studio / office, is there anything from your career, a gear, could be gloves or whatever, that you have that you could sign and hang on that wall to complement what I call the Wall of Fame or Museum of Sports, whatever the name is?
So I just did a collaboration with the Alouettes, the store, the boutique. So they asked me to design championship shirts for, like, in memory of basically our past, like the last year's team. So like one of those shirts. I made 2 designs.
Are those the one that are constantly on Instagram right now?
Yeah, so there's the cartoon one, and then there's one that's like the newspaper design.
Okay, I think I've seen them coming. Oh, very cool. That will be super nice. Awesome. Thank you so much. I wish you the best for the few games, and I hope you can this year get another ring this time.
Yes,
Actually
sir.
yours.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Thanks so much. Bye.